The Eagles first ever rattled the Grand Ole Opry House shortly after 8 o'clock. Over time, it transformed into a request to attend the top concert on Sirius X. Thus, you were only giving a performance. As a member of the Eagles, Vince Gill has quietly made his imprint and brought his own skills to bear on one of the most iconic bands in rock history. Still, he's prepared to spill the beans on what's been going on practically behind the scenes now that he's 67 years old. Vince opens out about the hidden struggles, personal issues, and shocking discoveries that altered everything in a very candid moment. How could he have possibly kept anything from us for so long? For what reason did he decide to speak up at this exact moment? Our future outlook on the Eagles could be influenced by Vince's observations as we go deeper into his material. All right, let's begin. Let's take a step back and examine Vince Gill's background and how he became a member of the legendary Eagles before we get into the details of his incredible career. The plot twists and turns as it begins in a little town. Vincent Grant Gill, better known as Vincent Gill, came into this world on April 12, 1957, in the Oklahoma city of Norman. The Gill family had 3 children, the youngest of whom was he. His folks, Stan and Jareen Gill, had a huge impact on his musical career. Stan went from being the top shoe player to a gifted guitarist and banjo player. He went to great lengths to teach Vince how to play those instruments, hoping to spark an interest that would endure a lifetime. As if that weren't enough, Jareen showed her equal musical skills by playing the harmonica and singing. Growing up, the Gills were known for their singing. In order to provide the family with a taste of American music, the enormous antique Opry was on the radio quite a bit. Additionally, they were avid listeners of modern rock and roll, which exposed Vince to many different genres. Along with track, his parents were huge golf fans, possibly a game that Vince will also come to enjoy at a young age. Vince stumbled upon a guitar that belonged to his grandma. He became 5 years old while learning to play Old Chef on it. From that point on, his experience began without a doubt. He and his half-brother Bob began performing together as early as 8 years old, appearing on local radio shows to wager on the Beach Boys' Towering Texan. Do you not think that must have been incredibly thrilling for him? J.J. Julian Atkins, a local guitarist, taught Vince guitar as he matured and helped him hone his abilities. With songs like House of the Rising Sun and other instrumental compositions, he even brought his guitar to high school for the show and tell, hoping to distinguish out from his classmates. In his teenage years, Vince honed his musical abilities by studying the bass guitar, dobro, fiddle, banjo, and mandolin. The more Vince became friends with the sons of his father's friends, the more he learned to love bluegrass music. His new mandolin playing friend was a huge bluegrass fan, and he sparked Vince's interest in the music. Following his graduation from an excessively difficult university, Vince fearlessly pursued a career in bluegrass music. His own bluegrass band, Mountain Smoke, was even co-founded by him. Surprisingly, Mountain Smoke was Kiss's opening act right away. Things didn't work out as planned during the concert. At first, the crowd booed and hurled things at them. Vince flipped the hen and mooned the target market in a moment of rebellion before storming off the degree. I can sense that you're curious. What happened to make Vince Gill into the famous artist we know today from a rebellious young man from Oklahoma? Give me an overview of his life's events, independent work. Vince and Grant Gill are 2 of the most famous names in modern American music. As a performer and composer, he achieved widespread renown. But like many performers, his path to stardom started off little. In the 1970s, Vince started playing in a variety of bluegrass bands around town. He worked hard on this look, but it wasn't until later on that he truly stood out. Between 1978 until 1982, Vince gained his first taste of fame as the lead singer of the soft rock band Pure Prairie League. It was a pivotal second for him. His contributions to the band's songwriting have expanded beyond his role as lead singer of the hit single Unmarried. Let Me Love You Tonight. Thanks to this experience, he was able to hone his skills and solidify his place in the music industry after his time at Pure Prairie League ended. Vince lost his way. He was a guitarist for Rodney Crowell's band, the Cherry Bombs. This meeting turned out to be invaluable, but it was merely a taste of what was to follow. In 1984, Vince decisively decided to pursue a career in American track and field on his own. He was still planning to jump, despite the ambitious pass. For the subsequent 2 years, Vince was a recording artist with RCA Records Nashville. Nevertheless, he was now encountering more challenges on his journey. Despite encountering challenging situations and completing only the most fundamental chores, Vince remained unfazed. Rather than push, he withheld it. By signing with MCA Nashville in 1989, he embarked on a fresh chapter that could have radically changed the trajectory of his career. In the early 1990s, Vince had his breakthrough as an industrial artist with the release of the album When I Call Your Name. The release of this album was a watershed point in his life that thrust him into stardom. With 65 appearances, Vince was clearly a country music superstar. Among them, he triumphed in 4 separate primary smashes: I Maintain My Belief in Your Veracity, Prevent Our Love from Waning, They Are Attempting to Contact You Again After One More Close Threat. Released between 1992 and 1994, those singles solidified his status as a country music superstar. However, it is not all. As a featured artist, Vince also found success. Together with Reba McEntire, he contributed to the 1993 smash single The Heart Won't Lie Sober Saturday Night featured him and Chris Young in 2016. And he was also a part of a multi-artist endeavor for Forever Country. Recording Industry Association of America RIA certifications of the platinum or higher level were granted to each of Vince's albums released in the 1990s. His most popular album, I Still Believe in You, went on to earn 5 platinum certifications. With an astounding 22 Grammys under his belt, Vince is the all-time leading American solo male musician. But that's not all of Vince's story. He was a member of the Western swing band The Time Jumpers from 2010 till 2020. After Glenn Frey passed away in 2017, he shocked fans and proved his versatility by joining the legendary rock band Eagles. Return to the beginning. The surprising nickname that put a stop to it all, it became just another ordinary day for Vince Gill. He was going about his usual business, juggling responsibilities while thinking about his career path. After years of going it alone, Vince finally felt like things were starting to turn around. Unbeknownst to him, a mere cell phone number would utterly upend his entire existence. A sudden ring came on his cell phone. Irving Azoff, the Eagles supervisor, was on the opposite end of the line. Vince answered, his pulse racing with fear as he didn't know what to expect. He was caught entirely unawares when he received the news. The Eagles wanted him to be a part of their band. Are you able to envision the unexpected? Here, Vince, an already famous performer, was faced with a gig with a band that would go down in music history as a legend. It seems like Vince took it as a joke. It's possible you want this to be true. I'm only stating that. The harshness of Irving's tone made the truth sink in. The Eagles are more than simply a band that has become famous for their tape music. The story is now serious and unfunny. The band was hoping he could fill in for the recently disbanded Glenn Frey, one of their original members. Vince had experienced a blend of deep familiarity and disbelief. He had always had a soft spot for the Eagles for their harmonies, their classic songs, and the impact they made on the music business. It is a great honor and a heavy responsibility to remember to join them. However, a question persisted amidst his enthusiasm. Why me? He knew he could want to use the group as an opportunity to hone his musical abilities. His versatility as a singer and guitarist was a welcome addition to their sound, but the prospect of taking over for Glenn Frey was daunting. When Vince thought about this potentially life-changing information, he became engulfed in a mental whirlwind. After years of success as a solo performer, he finally broke through. His accomplishments included a plethora of hits, several accolades, and a loyal fan base. But he had to abruptly end his solo career, at least in part, when he joined the Eagles. Nonetheless, taking into account his humble beginnings, it also offered a once-in-a-lifetime chance to join a band whose music he had loved. Dealing with anxiety and honor at the same time was overwhelming. After some time had passed, Vince finally asked the question that had been plaguing him. Why did they pick me? The reaction was caught off guard. Vince was the most qualified applicant they considered, according to Eagles co-founding dad Don Henley. He had faith in Vince's integrity. A talented musician who also holds the band's legacy in high regard. Vacancy was the wrong word to use here. In an effort to honor Glenn's memory, the focus shifted to competing with the Eagles' fervor. Nevertheless, the most astounding spectacle is yet to unfold. It turned out that stealing Glenn's vicinity wasn't the sole objective of the call, as Vince found. It evolved into embracing an entirely new adventure. He needed time to collect himself before the changeover. Vince Gill has flown for the Eagles, having gone solo to become a member of a famous band. Same like Vince Gill did when faced with the Eagles. Over the years, Vince has carved out a niche for himself in the racing industry. He grew used to managing everything by picking out the tunes to play and the best way to showcase them. But after he joined the Eagles, his role changed dramatically, and he was suddenly faced with expectations and duties he had never faced before. Among Vince's most challenging tasks was trying to put himself in Glenn Frey's position. Everyone in the band wasn't Glenn. He rose to prominence in the music business and became an iconic member of the band, the Eagles. His voice and unique manner helped make the Eagles stand out. Fans who had been listening to his music since childhood were devastated by his untimely passing. The void he left behind appeared insurmountable. It dawned on Vince that he should keep Glenn in the dark about everything.